new Moto G has arrived. 2, I call it just G2. This is the first one, and we will have a comparison of both devices. First of the features and the feeling, and then we'll have a closer look to the display, because there are some differences you should see by yourself. This is important for your buying decision, I would suggest. Yeah, first of all, of course, it's bigger and it's kind of the same design, so there's no differences like on the X series compared to the X and the X2. This is kind of the same, just bigger, and especially the prices, because the first G is now available in the web with a 16GB version for around about 170 euros, at least here in Germany, and the new Moto G is exactly the same. Recommended retail price 199, but in the web round about 170 euros. So this is, you're getting the same, but there are some differences you should know. First of all, of course, it's bigger. We're talking now about 71 millimeters in width instead of 66. That's not that big a difference, but nevertheless, you're feeling this. But it's kind of the same, because 143 grams, 149, and here that curved back with up to 11.1 millimeters instead of 11.2. That's no differences at all, but there are some advantages, of course. First, you should know, again, you can rip off the backside here, but like on the first one, you have again that fixed in battery, unfortunately. And it's the same 2017 milliampere hours, just the same like in the first one. I can rip off this one too. So this is something I was a little bit afraid of, because bigger display, the same battery, but nevertheless in the one-time test, and I'm doing always video maximum brightness in flight mode. Here the first one has had 324 minutes. That's minus 9% below the average of all smartphones I've tested in the last 12 months. And here we have 354 minutes. That's just 1% below the average. So it's more runtime, even if with the same battery and the bigger display. So this is a big job. And especially, as you have seen already, I guess, we have now dual SIM. Yes, 2 micro SIM cards, not the very tiny nano SIMs, just the regular ones. And up here, yeah, finally micro SD slot. So you have internal memory of just 8GB at the moment. I'm not pretty sure that there will be a 16GB version, because we now have that slot here, but let's wait. But you should know, if you have updated all your pre-installed apps, then you have a net memory of 4.97 GB left. So around about 5 GB internal memory net. This is the value you should calculate with, not with the 8, just with a 5 GB. So you will need that micro SD card, I guess. By the way, we have now a 8 megapixels camera instead of 5 megapixels, but video still in 720p. And again, the very same processor. It's again the Snapdragon 400. So meaning we have again just 4 cores with just 1.2 gigahertz, and the Adreno 305 module for graphics, GPU, and 1 GB of RAM, meaning this is kind of the same, just with a bigger display. And we have no LTE or 4G, no dual SAT HSPA, so meaning your highest data capacity is 3G network up to 21 megabit per second. And we have no Wi-Fi AC, the newest standard, just Wi-Fi N, but at least supporting 5 gigahertz band. So I guess most of you can live with that. Finally, display. As you see, bigger. We are talking now about 4.99 inches, and here we've had 4.45, or if you like the millimeters, 46 by 99, and now it's 62 by 111 millimeters. So meaning you have again 720p resolution, 720 by 1280 pixels. So if the area of the display is 26% bigger than the first one, then of course you will have 26% less pixel density. But if you see like for example here the app launcher, and I'm going a little bit closer, and you really have very, very tiny texts over here, nevertheless you can read these the same good way like on the first one. This is probably nothing you should lay your buying decision onto. So yeah, that's no problem for me at the moment. But nevertheless, if you're paying 169 euros, I wouldn't buy this one, not even a 16 gigabyte version. Then I would suggest to have that 8 gigabyte version, but with that micro SD slot for the same amount of money. I know you cannot push all your apps onto the SD card because some system internal apps have to rely on the internal memory, like games with heavy graphics, but that's not something you would do on these kind of devices. So I do not see that big a problem with this over here. I would suggest to have the new one for 170 euros and with a bigger screen. But again, I wanted to show you something you should see by yourself, and that's concerning the display. Both are called IPS by Google, but I will get my electronic magnifier here and show you first. This is the first Moto X, that you would say classic RGB matrix, red, green and blue subpixels, kind of stripes, and very typical manner, like the structure here. And now let's see what the new Moto G, I call it jetzt now G2, has. Yeah, seems quite the same. Again, red, green, blue stripes. But if you see like this one again over here, you will have to see very carefully that a little bit, some are turned to left, some are turned to the right. I hope you can see it here clearly. Like that one. You have to look carefully, I know, but nevertheless, this is making a bigger difference, because let me stay at this white background, because at some angle you will see that, at least here in nature I see it, that this one, the G2, is going very dark, while the first one, the G over here, is staying very bright. So this is something going on the amount of this different shapes, or if you know that term, dual domain, because you have that correction in 2 axes for angle stability, and that's not going on the new one. So I guess it was just a cheaper panel here on the new G that's causing this trouble. In case you should say, oh, I'm the only one using my phone, I'm always staring directly in 19 degrees angle down to my panel, you won't see anything of this, like in this one over here, no problem at all. But in case you would say, oh, I want to have the best display quality I can get for my money, well, then the first one should be better. And if you're just having minority use, but nevertheless, I find this bigger display, we're talking about again 5 inch instead of 4.5 inches, a little bit bigger. But yeah, if you like this one more, you get the better display quality, kind of a bonus, let me call it like that. Yeah, I hope I could help you a little bit with your buying decision by this little video. Thanks for watching, and please be so kind to recommend my channel and to subscribe to it. Thanks for that in advance, and take care.